According to a recent study conducted by the National Science Foundation, 1 in 4 Americans believes that the sun and everything else in space revolves around the Earth, and not, as modern science says, the other way around. Believing in what's called geocentrism is really pretty stupid right now, given that Galileo, Copernicus, and Kepler debunked it over 500 years ago. It's about as sensible as believing in Bigfoot or the reptile Illuminati. And anyone who wants to be taken seriously as a modern thinking person pretty much rejects geocentrism outright. The same can be said about climate change denial. Over 97% of scientists agree that global warming is real and that human beings are causing it by burning fossil fuels. There is no debate. Climate change is a fact, just like the Earth revolving around the sun is a fact. And anyone who says otherwise should be treated like the crazy person they are. But for Republicans who flip these stars upside down, crazy is the default position. According to the Center for American Progress, 58% of congressional Republicans deny the existence of man-made climate change, including 100% of last year's freshman Republicans in the House of Representatives. That leads to some crazy stuff. Just yesterday, for example, all 4 Republican candidates for North Carolina's Senate seat said no when asked by a debate moderator if climate change was a fact. One of them even went so far as to say, God controls the climate.
Is climate change a fact? Mr. Harris?
No.
Ms. Grant?
No.
Mr. Brandon?
No, God controls the climate.
Mr. Tillis?
No.
Can you imagine what the reaction would be if all 4 Republicans for North Carolina's Senate seat had said that the sun revolves around the Earth? And what makes this possible, other than millions in campaign contributions from big oil, big coal, and big gas? What is it? What makes this possible? Fox so-called news. Not a day goes by without some Fox host laughing off climate change like it's some kind of joke. Case in point, yesterday's episode of The Five, when host Bob Beckel brought up this actual scientific chart put together by actual NASA, showing the sharp rise in carbon dioxide emissions over the last few decades. He was ridiculed by Eric Bolling and the rest of the Five team. Laughed at, in fact. Take a look.
NASA, which is probably the greatest single institution, scientific institution in the United States that took a man to the moon, NASA has one very specific issue. I couldn't get this up on the screen, but if you could just come in just here for a second, and you will see that CO2 emissions for 650,000 years have not got... You find that funny?
Yeah.
You going to laugh at NASA?
Yeah,
Why
no.
Laugh at NASA? Go ahead, laugh at NASA.
I want to laugh. These guys are now officially in the same category as Illuminati conspiracy theorists and the geocentrists who say that the sun revolves around the Earth. And that graph that Bolling was making fun of, it actually is from actual real scientists at the actual real NASA and is routinely used by actual real scientists all over the world to show the actual dangers of fossil fuel emissions. According to Nielsen ratings, around 2 million people watched the Five's segment mocking climate change, around 300,000 in the 25 to 54 demographic. If you're looking for a reason why a quarter of Americans don't believe in global warming, that's it. If Eric Bolling and the rest of the Five hosts cared about the future of humanity, they deny any association with wacko climate deniers. But they don't. And neither will any other climate change denier in the Republican Party. There's just too much money at stake. Nobody's making money claiming the Earth's at the center of the universe, but there are millions to be made hustling for the coal and oil barons. A trillion-dollar industry, the fossil fuel industry, has a huge vested interest in keeping the public in the dark about climate change. And all it has to do is make sure Republicans and the right-wing media toe the party line about global warming. All they have to do to make sure that happens is pass out a few $1 million. In an ideal world, people who deny climate change would be laughed at, just like people who think that the sun revolves around the Earth. But we don't live in an ideal world. We live in a world dominated by the fossil fuel industry and a money-is-speech Supreme Court. That's why the rest of us who know that global warming is real must call out the climate deniers for what they are, wackos who deserve no more respect than people who say that the sun revolves around the Earth.